Hello, Detroit. It's your girl Tina with Spectacle Society, and I am super excited today because today we have with us Jason Kirk of Kirk Kirk Eyewear, and we are so thrilled at Spectacle Society because we are one of only two companies within Michigan who are going to carry this line, and the only one in Detroit. So Spectacle Society will be the only place that you can get these incredible frames. So Jason, thank you for joining us today. I'm really excited to talk to you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. So, because no one in Detroit has seen Kirk Kirk yet, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about what makes Kirk Kirk so special. What makes it stand out from all the other eyewear out there?
Yeah, sure, with pleasure. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to working in Detroit. It's an exciting place. There's so much going on. I can't wait to see your store.
Yeah.
Kirk Kirk is like no other eyewear brand in the materials that we use, in the history that we have, in the way that we make our glasses. Everything is completely different to anything you would have ever seen before. So, my grandfather started in optics 100 years ago, over 100 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And him and his brother, they had a company, Sydney and Percy Kirk, they had a company called Kirk Brothers. And everything that they did was with the goal of driving the whole industry forward. So they wanted to excite and inspire people. And Karen's my partner and my wife in this business, she's the creative director. We take the same goals, we take the same objectives, so that our goal is to make people excited and inspired about eyewear. It's not just something you look through, it's something that reflects your personality, and it reflects the way you feel, but also it helps you feel in certain ways as well. It just creates emotion. So that's what we want to do with our eyewear.
That is so very true. And that falls in line exactly with what we do at Spectacle Society, really making sure that people can express themselves through their eyewear. And your collection is so incredible for that. I'm really excited about it. So can you tell the Detroiters a little bit about the material that you use and why it's so special?
Sure. So, well, one of the things about my grandfather was he was always innovating. And the way that we got started in eyewear was going back to 92 now. And my dad was an optician as well as my grandfather. And I was helping my dad clear out his practice. And I found this box of beautiful frames. They're from the 50s and the 60s, and there were all sorts of bright colors. And it was stuff that I had never seen before. And I was not into optics until that moment, that kind of like lightning moment where you open this box and sparks fly. And we found these glasses, and I asked my dad where they were from, and he said, "This is some glasses that your grandfather made." I'm like, okay, just some glasses that my grandfather made. But they were beautiful, they were incredible, and they had a texture to them and shapes to them that we'd never seen before. So it was really, literally at that point that I decided that I wanted to go into eyewear. And I wanted to recreate with Karen the same sensations that my grandfather's glasses gave me. And so we were looking at these frames and working out how they made them, because they didn't look or feel like anything that was around at the time. And there were also strange shapes and curves and cuts in them. And I was like, you can't make glasses like that. So we realized they were made from a material that was not the usual material. So normally when you're wearing glasses, plastic glasses, they're made of acetate. And there are different types of acetate, different grades of acetate, but these were clearly not acetate, because acetate would change and bend and move over time in ways that these glasses hadn't. So we started experimenting and looking around, and we never actually worked out what the material was that my grandfather used. It was some sort of Bakelite, but not Bakelite. It was just really interesting. But we worked on an acrylic. So acrylic is a general name for a group of materials. And we found this Italian acrylic manufacturer, and we said, we'd like to make glasses out of your material. Is that possible? He said, no, not possible at all. He said, well, why not? And he was interested. And this is the thing about manufacture. Like, if you can find someone who says no, but they're interested in finding out how to say yes, then you're halfway there. And so we developed a special grade of acrylic, which only we use to make eyewear. And it took years to develop that material, and then it took years to work with a factory that could actually understand how to make it work. But what was really important to us as well was to make the frames in the old-fashioned way. So our glasses the materials leave this factory in Italy, they go to one factory in France, and they're made the old-fashioned way from start to finish. So they're hand-pinned, they're hand-curved. When you take, this is one of the ways that you tell, like, whether you're getting a pair of glasses that you really should be spending money on, if you look at the end of the frame where it meets the front, all of our frames are made so that each individual frame is finished to the front. So that's the kind of thing that you look for, and all those little details are what makes our frame special. But apart from anything else, we worked out how to use this acrylic. I'm digressing and chatting too much, but we worked out how to use this acrylic. And what we noticed about it was incredibly light. So you can take a frame, I can grab another frame here. So you can take a frame like this. This is Ezra from our Matt Centena collection. You can take a frame like this and it looks really chunky and it looks like it's going to be heavy, but it weighs nothing. So it weighs a fraction of the lightest of acetate frames. It's like, I would say it's about a fifth of the weight of an acetate frame. So it allows you to wear something really chunky, but it's incredibly comfortable. It's almost like you're not wearing a frame at all. There's enough presence and head hugging going on to feel good, but it weighs nothing. So that's really lovely.
That's amazing.
The other beautiful thing about acrylic, I'm going to put a pair of glasses on so I can see. The other beautiful thing about acrylic is these amazing colors that you get that you won't find in acetate. Yeah. And so acrylic has this kind of glassy, vitreous quality that there's a transparency, and I don't know if you can really pick it up in this film, but you need to go into your store to yes. put them on and hold them and feel them and touch them and see the way the light crosses through them. But it has these incredible colors and this translucency that you don't find anywhere else in any other frames. So it's not just the way they look and the way that they feel, but it's the way that you feel when you wear them. And also something that we could not have predicted, which you will only understand when you've got a pair on and you're wearing them, the way that other people feel when they're talking to you. Now, there's a weird emotion that, like I said, we could not have predicted, but people respond and interact differently with you when you're wearing a pair of these glasses. And it's such a lovely feeling.
Absolutely. And, you know, one of the things that I absolutely love about the line, and I've been a fan of yours for over a decade now, like I have just followed this line and just absolutely loved it. But the colors are so, they're delicious. They're like candy colored in some of them. They're so rich. And yet the light that comes through them, it's just like, they're so vibrant. You can't really explain it until you see them in person. They're unbelievable.
Thank you. Well, Karen is amazing with color, and she chooses a palette which just reflects the emotion of the day. And you can, you know, when you wake up in the morning, sometimes you feel like wearing a black frame, and other times you feel like wearing a violet frame. And sometimes during the day, you want to change because you might be in a different environment, or you just might feel differently. So it's having that range of colors. And I think one thing you find is that once people have a pair of Kirk and Kirk, they rarely only stop at one pair. You know, it's like it's a feeling, it's an emotion, it's like a membership of a club where you discovered something and it's a little secret. I remember my first car, I had a Beetle, and you used to, whenever you saw somebody else driving a Beetle, you kind of wave as you drove.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like that. It's like that. It's a lovely feeling, and it's still, you know, it remains underground. The very fact that you're the first company in Detroit to carry our glasses is, you know, we sell in, it's not like, you know, we've been selling in 35 countries and we sell in about 450 stores, but they're all the best independent stores all over the world, and they're separated. So it's a discovery. It's finding something really special that you won't find everywhere. And that's what's really important.
Exactly. And you know what? That's why I'm so excited for Detroiters to get a chance to see this. I mean, we are a city of incredibly creative people. We're a city, you know, that's so unique with so much passion. And I really think that Detroiters are going to love Kirk and Kirk, especially because the color range is amazing. It's great for all different skin tones. There are so many different options. I think the diverse community that is Detroit, we're going to be so excited to have it here. So I'm really, really thrilled about having you in the store, and can't wait for all the Detroiters to come out and try on Kirk and Kirk. I mean, you cannot leave Spectacle Society without trying on a few Kirk and Kirk. I'm telling you right now, even if you're like, oh gosh, that's a little too bright for me, I swear when you put them on, you are going to change your tune. They're amazing. Jason, I do want to ask you, I know that there's some new stuff that's come up within the last year. I mean, COVID's been kind of crazy, but you guys have been hard at the design stuff and new things that have kind of popped up. And I'd love to hear a little bit about what's new in Kirk and Kirk line.
Sure. Well, what's important is to constantly bring something new. And I think, everybody's been challenged by COVID, and it's very hard for brands to come and see you face to face and for you to discover new things. So that side of things has really challenged us. And so what we've done is we've decided to bring out new collections or new parts of collections all the time. So every 2 or 3 months, there'll be something new. There'll be new colors, there'll be new textures, there'll be new shapes. There's always something new to discover. So I'm afraid I can't tell you what we're launching because
it's a secret.
But every 2 or 3 months there'll be something brand new coming out in different parts of the collection. So
well, and one of the things I was excited to see is that most recently there were a few larger pieces that came out. I mean, I know that's always a struggle as an optician, is making sure that I can fit all of my clients, right? And I'm looking to buy frames for all of my clients. So having something with a larger, fitting a larger head is amazing, because quite often, people who are on the larger side for heads, and I get this is my life, there's you have to really search for something to work really well, right?
It's interesting, and being a niche company like we are, having something specialist, not for everybody. We can start to bring out collections or parts of collections which target a specific market. So we're not a tortoiseshell company, and we're not a standard shape company. We're a company that does something special, that it's, once you've seen that one frame in the store, you're not going anywhere else. It's like, that's my frame, that's you. And that's where we are. So we recently, for example, here's a good example of what we brought out. We brought out 2 new shapes which are designed specifically for larger heads. And the thing about it is that, normally speaking, I mean, there are other frames out there for larger heads, but generally they're tortoiseshell, or they're black, and they're bland, and they're not exciting. And, so what we wanted to do was to bring out some exciting shapes, so you could get the spirit of Kirk and Kirk, but you could have it in a larger fitting. So when you can get it's not this shape, but when you can get this color,
right,
in a large frame with a double bridge, it's just really exciting. And also, what's really interesting as well is the way that they're balanced. You don't have to be that large to wear it. I mean, it's just they fit really well. So so we're trying to do different things. We're trying to cater for audiences that love eyewear. It's really simple.
Absolutely. And now I was told something about the acrylic, like you've got only a limited run of a color until it's gone, right? That we can't duplicate it. Is that the way it works with the acrylic?
Yeah, so we make all our own materials, and we make limited runs, and nobody else will have it, because we're the only people that work in acrylic. We're the only people in the world that work in acrylic, which is great. And then we move our colors around quickly. There are certain colors which are very popular, and they stay within the collection, but we want to bring something new, and we want to reflect fashion or be ahead of fashion in what we're doing. But it's about what we feel. It's not about what some clothing company is saying is going to be fashionable next season. It's about how we feel and how our audience feel, and how do you relate the issues of the day, whether they're political issues or environmental issues, how do you relate those to eyewear? How do you bring that into what you do without being like really, really crass and too direct?
Right.
So how can you reflect that emotion into eyewear? And so that's a challenge. But when we do, I had this frame out before, but when we do a black frame, for example, it's not an ordinary black frame. It's got a matte finish, it's got a metal bridge on it, it's chunky, it's thick, it's got personality. So it's not going to be the same as other black frames that you would find. Let's grab something else.
I think personality is one of the key words when I think of your line, right? Is that it just, one, they have their own personality, but 2, the reflection of someone's personality with them. I think that a personality is such a key word for your line. And I'm so excited to be able to have people express their personality with Kirk and Kirk over here.
Thank you. We're really looking forward to working at Spectacle Society. And it's about but it's not so much about the personality of our glasses. Like you said, it's about the personality of the person that's wearing them. And that personality, sometimes it's a reflection of their personality, and sometimes it's a discovery
Yes.
of a personality. It's a confidence. I mean, you know,
Yes.
I do up until this last year. This is the first year I haven't been on a plane for like,
Oh.
I can't say either.
Yeah. You and most of us.
I used to spend my life traveling around the world, visiting great opticians, and you would go in there and you'd meet people, and you'd meet consumers who would come in, and you'd like, I mean, I love this story. I was in Canada, I was in Toronto, and this woman came in with her husband, but like the husband was in tow, you know, he was being dragged around the stores. Sure. She was like, yeah, I'm gonna get my glasses, yeah, I'm really cool, and like, you know, like I'm gonna try these really wild, wacky ones on. And the husband was like looking around, and you could see he was looking at our glasses, and he was like the kind of like little round metal frame kind of guy. And he put on this pair of blue frames, and he was like super excited. His whole face lit up. He just looked like a different guy.
Yeah. And
he wandered around the store, and his wife kind of like laughed at him. Oh, you don't wear frames like that. You wear little metal glasses. And he wandered around the store, and she chose her glasses, and he wandered around. He got back about 20 minutes later, came back to me, and he was like, can I try those on again? And he just like, he lit up, and he ended up buying them. And it was like, it was as if he discovered a new aspect to his personality. And his wife saw it as well once she opened her eyes. And it was great. So yeah, it's not just like, it's not, how many people look in magazines and go, I want to look like that guy, or I want to look like that girl, you know, and I'm going to get those glasses so I look like Robert Redford. Remember who Robert Redford is?
I do. I'm there with you.
Let's go for Robert Downey Jr. So,
okay, yes, there you go.
Right, okay, let's go for Robert Downey Jr. But you know what happens is you walk in the store, you try a pair of glasses on. The glasses might look like his, but you don't necessarily. I don't look like Robert Downey Jr.
Exactly.
So you've got to find something that's you, and it's your look and your feel and your emotion, and it doesn't have to be one frame that does that, because most of us have got several facets to our personality.
And I really think that's the case, is the trying out different facets of your personality, being able to project that, right? And Kirk is absolutely there for that. And I'm so excited he like lit up. I love that moment when someone puts on a frame and it's like the clouds part and choirs of angels sing and light shines down and you're like, yes, that is their frame. It's an amazing feeling.
Absolutely. You described that so beautifully. And it's when you know, you can kind of, you know, the frame's right when you look in the mirror with your eyes closed and you feel 2 inches taller.
Yes, exactly. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. And I can't wait for Detroiters to be able to look in the mirror with their eyes closed with a Kirk on and just know that this is their frame. So, you know, Detroiters, go ahead and get onto spectaclesocietydetroit.com. Book your appointments now for December. We're definitely going to be there to help you out to use your flex spending and your health savings accounts, and for you to come in and try on all of the gorgeous Kirk and Kirks that'll be here shortly. We're expecting them soon. So we can't wait. Thank you so much again, Jason.
Thank you very much for having me. Looking forward to working together. Bye.
Bye.